phones, Babylons can't crack the.
This is Tate Martell. This guy has to be easily one of the best high school quarterbacks ever in high school football history. In the class of 2017, he was the second best player in his class behind this year's first round pick to the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa. But Tate Martell has now opted out of the 2020 college football season for Miami, and he was a third-string quarterback last season and was a third-string quarterback this season. Whatever happened to Tate Martell? To start off this story, I'm going to start it off when Tate Martell was in middle school playing football. Tate Martell started getting some attention from college football coaches just when he was in middle school, just because he was a throwing quarterback. A lot of kids in middle school, when their quarterbacks are running teams, the quarterbacks either hand the ball off or they run the ball a lot, but Tate Martell was different. This guy was a throwing quarterback, and he was insanely accurate and extremely good. And Tate Martell was so advanced at his age that Washington even offered him a scholarship, and Tate Martell accepted it right then and there and committed to Washington. And of course, he would later decommit because the man committed when he was in 8th grade. In Tate Martell's freshman year of high school, I will say this, I was not able to find any stats of his freshman season, but he attended Poway High School, which was his local high school, and he did start as a true freshman. But the team wasn't that great, and he helped lead them to a 4-7 record. But after his freshman season at Poway High School, he would transfer to Bishop Gorman in Nevada. Tate Martell's first year at Bishop Gorman, he started all 15 games for them as a sophomore, and this guy went 15-0 as a starting quarterback, and he went beast mode. He completed 62% of his passes, throwing for 40 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, while also throwing for 2,537 yards, along with 433 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. And it would also be after his sophomore season going into his junior year, where he would also decommit from Washington, as I said, and commit to Texas A&M University. In Tate Martell's junior season at Bishop Gorman, this guy ate up yet again. He played in all 15 games for Bishop Gorman and went 15-0 as a starter for back-to-back years, and he completed 56% of his passes this season while throwing for 2,608 yards, along with 32 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions, and he did even more damage on the ground from the previous year to now. In this season, he rushed for 604 yards with 9 total touchdowns on the ground. But now, after his junior season of high school football, in May of 2016, he would decommit from Texas A&M University, and a month later, he would commit to Ohio State University. In Martell's senior season at Bishop Gorman, he beasted even more. This was definitely his best year of high school football, and he went 15-0 for the 3rd straight year, making his win percentage at Bishop Gorman in the 3 seasons he was there 100%, going 45-0 as a starting quarterback. That's almost unheard of. But let's talk about the stats for this season. For the season, he completed 63% of his passes while throwing for 2,362 yards with 41 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Oh yeah, and on the ground in his senior season at Bishop Gorman, yeah, he destroyed it. He had a total of 1,257 rushing yards, and you guys won't be ready for how many touchdowns he had on the ground this season. 21. In the class of 2017, Tate Martell was the 56th best player in the nation, the 2nd best quarterback in the nation, and the 2nd best player in the state of Nevada, and he was a 4-star recruit according to 247 Sports. Tate Martell also racked up some accolades such as playing in the U.S. All-American game and was an Elite 11 finalist. And Tate Martell would also finish 2nd in Nevada history in passing yards and touchdowns with 7,510 career passing yards and 113 career touchdowns in a high school career. Tate Martell seemed like a very, very good prospect coming out of high school. In almost every category, he was perfect in, except for his size, because he stood at about 5'10.5" and 200 pounds. As a true freshman at Ohio State, In the 2017 college football season, he would not appear in a single game and would redshirt. But going into the 2018 college football season as a redshirt sophomore, Tate Martell would be competing for the starting quarterback spot in spring camp, but he would not win this job and would be a backup quarterback to Dwayne Haskins. Although in the 2018 college football season, Tate Martell saw very limited time as a backup quarterback, he played in 6 games and he played very well, completing 82% of his passes, throwing for 269 yards with 1 touchdown, and even had 128 rushing yards and even 2 rushing touchdowns. The future for him at Ohio State looked very bright. And I'll tell y'all straight up, I thought this guy was going to be a future for Ohio State because this guy was playing amazing for them. But Tate Martell's future at Ohio State did not seem very bright after Georgia quarterback Justin Fields in January of 2019 announced he'd be transferring to Ohio State. And Tate Martell's response to this on Twitter was spicy, man. I tell y'all, here's what he said. Word of advice, don't swing and miss, especially on your second time. And there was rumors about Justin Fields transferring to Ohio State in December, on December 30th, 2018. This is what Tate Martell had to say about Fields possibly transferring to Ohio State. Why would I leave for someone who hasn't put in a single second into this program? To just run away from somebody who hasn't put a single second into workouts, anything like that, and doesn't know what the program is all about, there's not a chance. I will be the starting quarterback. I'm 100% sure on that. I am not just going to walk away for something that I have put so much time into, and there's not a chance that I won't go out there and compete for that. Here's the funny thing though. Tate Martell didn't compete at all. Less than 2 weeks after he made this statement, on January 10th of 2019, he would put his name in the transfer portal, and 5 days later, he would announce that he would be transferring to Miami. The Tate Martell hype going into the 2019 college football season with Miami was insane. A lot of people were expecting him to be the starting quarterback, but that was far from the truth. Tate Martell was actually a third-string quarterback behind Jaron Williams and N'Kosi Perry. Tate Martell barely played this season. And there was even one point in the season that Tate Martell was actually a receiver for a very short amount of time before he would switch back to quarterback. Tate Martell would only appear in 3 games for Miami this season as a redshirt sophomore in the 2019 college football season. And his stats were not surprising. I mean, he barely played. He only threw 1 pass. He completed it for 7 yards. And on the ground, he had 7 rushing attempts for 7 yards, averaging 1 yard per carry. It was nothing impressive. I mean, he barely played. Going into the 2020 college football season, Tate Martell's redshirt junior season at Miami, he would not play in a single game in this season. And he would be a third-string quarterback behind people like Derek King, the transfer from Houston, who is seen as a Heisman dark horse, and N'Kosi Perry, yet again for back-to-back seasons. And he would not appear in a single game for them this year. He was suspended in the first game against UAB due to a team situation, and shortly before the Louisville game this past weekend, he would actually opt out of the 2020 college football season. Now, he does get to keep his year of eligibility this year, and he'll be a redshirt junior next season, but all this makes me think that Tate Martell is going to transfer out of Miami. And honestly, if I'm going to be real, I think Tate Martell should transfer from Miami. I just want to see this guy play. I've been waiting to see this guy play for a few seasons now. And honestly, at this point, it looks like he's never going to play unless he transfers out of Miami. To be honest, I want to see this guy transfer, and his only option seem like is to be a starting quarterback for a horrible Power 5 team, or be a starting quarterback on a non-Power 5 level, or go to the FCS level and be a starting quarterback there. I just want to see this guy play somewhere. I don't want him to be at Miami anymore because I like this guy in high school. I just want to see this guy play some football again. And if he returns to Miami, which he definitely can, I don't ever see him playing a game at Miami as a starting quarterback unless someone's just hurt. I don't see him winning the job there anytime soon. And that's really all I have on him. The guy's seen as a really big bust as a former top high school recruit in the class of 2017 and one of the best high school quarterbacks in all of history coming out of Bishop Gorman. The guy is pretty comparable to Blake Barnett, if you guys remember him, who started off at Alabama, then transferred to Arizona State, but then kind of had a resurgence at South Florida. Well, guys, that's all I have today. Remember to smash that like button, turn on the post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly out.